Hi, this is Sophie from Stuti's Cuisine. Today I'm going to show you a Filipino dish that is called Puto Bigas. It's a steamed rice cake, a very delicious dish. It's similar to the idlis of South India, the sanas from Mangalore, and the doklas from Gujarat. Now let's go through the ingredients one by one. I've taken 2 cups of raw rice, white rice. We need 1 cup of sugar. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We need 2 tablespoons of cooked rice, which is not mandatory at all. You can put it along with the raw rice while grinding. You need half a glass of water, salt to taste, and milk powder or coconut milk powder. This is for the consistency of the batter, which is also not mandatory. The essential ingredients are the raw rice, the sugar, the baking powder, and water, along with salt to taste. Now the rice, the white raw rice, should be soaked in water for overnight or 6 to 8 hours, then which should be drained, and the water which is drained should not be thrown out. The same water should be used for grinding the raw rice. We should not throw it away because the batter becomes better with the fermented water which is collected. So now we transfer the rice to the mixer or the grinder, and we pour the water, half glass of water, into the rice, and we grind it in the mixture, which is a very fine consistency. And the consistency should be a pouring consistency. It should not be too thick or too thin. You can either grind the cooked rice along with the raw rice in the beginning, or in between you can grind the cooked rice, and you can pour it into a bowl. The consistency should be pouring consistency. So that's how, if it is too thick, then we make use of the coconut milk or the milk. That's why it's not mandatory. You can also use water instead to thin it if it's thick. So now we pour this batter into a bowl, and we keep it for another 6 hours, or some even keep it overnight for it to ferment. So it's the same thing like how we make for appams and idlis. So it's similar to that. But usually for appams we don't put any flavoring agents, but for this we do put. And you have to see that it's kept closed in a place where it gets fermented for 6 to 8 hours. Okay, so once it's fermented, you bring it out, and the consistency, the batter would be, you find it a little more thicker. So at this time also, if it is thicker, you can dilute it with water or milk. So now you put 2 to 3 pinches of salt, or a half a teaspoon of salt. You put in the sugar, the 1 cup of sugar into it, and you put the baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, into the batter. You can put the essence now or later after you stir the whole thing. So you have to stir it slowly and see that it's all mixed together and no clumps. So that's how you can either put it in a mixie and mix it, or you can use a hand beater or a spatula. I used a spatula for mixing the batter, and you see the pouring consistency, how it is. It should be that loose. It should not be too loose and it should not be too thick. So now I'm pouring 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence to it, and again mixing it all together so that it's well mixed. You can also put any flavor you want, and you can also put color if you like to. But I have not put any color. You can put nutmeg if you like the flavor of nutmeg. You can put the flavor of cardamoms, any flavor you like. I've put vanilla essence and mixed it. And now after mixing it, you have to keep it aside for 10 to 15 minutes. And in that time, you can keep the steamer on the stove, and by putting water at the bottom for it to steam. It should boil well. And I put this batter into a container where it's easy to pour. The molds, I keep it ready at this time after lubricating the molds so that it's easy to drop off, to demold once it's done. So I've got the silicone mold. You can put it into any molds you want to. Like the Philippines, they have very tiny molds and it looks so cute. The Puto Bigas, they call it. It's so cute it looks. So now you have to fill each molds not more than 3/4 of it. Otherwise it would just spurt out while it's steamed. You open the steamer. You see, you have to be very careful because it's really hot boiling water. You place it. I have got this type of a steamer which I use for appams and idlis, so I make use of this. Whichever steamer you have to steam it for 10 to 15 minutes on high flame depending on the flame you have. So by the time it is between 10 to 12 minutes, mine was ready enough, and even while taking it off from the steamer, you have to see that you do it carefully so that you don't burn your fingers or hands. So that's how I got it. Within 12 minutes, I got my Puto Bigas ready. And I will be keeping it for some time to cool. It just comes off by itself because it's a silicone mold. And before putting the next set of the batter into the steamer, see that there's sufficient water at the bottom because we don't want to get the steamer to get burnt. And now I'm putting the second set of the mold so that it will, by the time the first set gets cool, the second will also get steamed. So that's how I have made 2 sets of Puto Bigas, and it was so soft and so tasty. So here I am going to demold the Putos, and it comes off very easily, demolds. So you just have to take it off carefully. It's slightly warm. You have to keep it for around 10 minutes so that it gets cooled down and just comes off easily. Okay, so you see that it is so soft and it has come up in such lovely. And if you have the molds of different shapes, it's really so good. You can have it with anything. You can just have it just that way without any accompaniments. So there is it presented, and See how it is. It's so fluffy and so soft. I'm just breaking it to show how nice and light it is. Very soft, and it has got a nice flavor because of the essence we put. I've dished it out, and I have put maple syrup. You can have it with any accompaniments. You can have it with chutney if you want. You can have it with korma. You can have it with chicken curry. You can have it with anything, and it's so tasty. And now I'm just tasting it. It's so soft, and it's so tasty and so soft. I wish you could taste it. So all of you who has seen this video must try it out. If I can do it, then you can do it. So share it amongst your family, friends, that you have a Filipino recipe, Puto, Bigas, and you would be proud to actually make it and give it to your friends and families too. So I hope you like the video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. It's one of the best recipes I have tried, and I loved it because I've never tried this recipe before, because I've tried appams and it's similar to that, but I've never tried. This is a Filipino dish which is served for parties and many occasions, because it's quite a tedious process. Like, it has to be soaked, then ground, and again kept for another 8 hours. So hope you all like it and share it. Thank you and have a great day.